Hey y'all, it's Amber Gilbert, and today I'm making baked macaroni and cheese, which is one of the favorites around here. The macaroni and cheese starts with a basic roux, which is just melted butter, flour, and milk, and it's cooked over low heat until it gets thick. I'm about to add a stick of butter into my pot, let it melt, and then I'll add in a half a cup of flour, and once that has cooked down a little bit and gotten a little bit darker, I'll add in 3 cups of milk. Now I'm adding in half a cup of flour, and I'm just whisking it into the melted butter so there's no lumps. Alright, now I'm going in with 3 cups of whole milk. You want to keep stirring as you add because it will get lumpy and it seizes up a little bit, but then it'll thin back out, and you're going to wait until it thickens back up before it's done. So here we go. It helps too if your milk isn't cold. You want it to be room temperature. It just mixes a lot better. I think in the South especially, macaroni and cheese is just a staple. So I think this recipe is good for everybody, except for vegans. Alright, my roux is thick and beautiful. So next I'm going to add seasoning. I'm going to add salt, pepper, and seasoning salt. I add about a teaspoon of each. And if you don't like seasoning salt, you just want to add a little bit more kosher salt. I'm going to go in with about a teaspoon of each. And I usually always crack a bunch of black pepper and fill up my canister, usually once or twice a week, depending on how much I'm cooking. Because I like the big chunks of black pepper, not the finely ground. So I'm going to mix all that in. And you basically have a gravy. Okay, so now it's time to add our cheese. I have Gouda, Sharp Cheddar, Fontina, and Asiago. To me, it's just a good combination of creamy and salty and sharp. Obviously, you can use any cheeses that you like, but to me, this is the ultimate combination. I turned the heat off once my roux finished when I added the spices in. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on low, just so as I add the cheese, it'll start to melt. So I'm just going to add each one in. I've got about a cup of Sharp Cheddar, and I always use the extra sharp. About half a cup of Gouda, and about 3/4 cup of Fontina and Asiago. And there, you're never going to go wrong if you add more cheese. So I'm going to get that all stirred in, and it's going to start melting. We're going to have a yummy cheese sauce. And once that melts, you want to go ahead and turn the heat off because you don't want it to burn. So we are melty and cheesy. So I'm going to turn my heat off. And now you're ready to add your pasta, your cooked noodles. I like the corkscrew. It's Cavatappi, and it's got these little ridges in it. Catches all the sauce. So I'm going to add all that in. Okay, so now we're ready to get our macaroni and cheese into the baking dish so we can get it into the oven. You don't have to butter this dish because you got plenty of butter in here. And I just used an 8x8 square baking dish. So I'm going to get all our macaroni in here. Make sure you get all that sauce. That 1.5 cups you have left of all your shredded cheeses, you're going to put on top. And it will get nice and bubbly and crunchy. And we're ready for the oven. I'm going to go ahead and put this in a 350-degree oven. Alright, I think our macaroni and cheese is ready. It's got some good color on top. So I'm going to pull it out. You can obviously let it go a little longer, just up to you how long you let it stay in the oven. But for me, this is done. Just got the baked mac and cheese out of the oven, and it is nice and bubbly and brown on top. I cooked it for about 25 or 30 minutes on 350 degrees till it was bubbly, and then I turned the oven to broil, and usually that takes 3 to 5 minutes until it gets nice and brown on top. So creamy. And I think the cheese that I taste the most is the cheddar, which I love. But I also taste the seasoning salt, which is why I like using something a little bit different, because you definitely get that flavor in here. I don't know if this will be left when Brantley gets home. So I hope you try this recipe, and I hope you love it as much as we do.